Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at the most recent chapter of World Trigger, chapter 159, a Hyuse chapter. Very much a centric chapter around Hyuse himself and his enlistment into Border from C rank and making his way up to B rank. Everything is about him, so we'll just do one big segment and cover a few points. And also expect Boku no Hero Academia later on today. Unfortunately, the people that do the scanulation for Black Clover and Red Spirit have been having some legal issues, so there'll be a delay around that. If they get their stuff together and things sorted out by Monday, I'll hopefully get the release out tomorrow. If not on Monday, then basically the actual translation will be out and I'll do it on the back of that. So apologies about the delay of that. We'll get to that. I may use tomorrow to catch up on any other chapters such as Promised Neverland and possibly some of the monthlies. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the chapter in general was brilliant. There was a sense of duality and a sense of comparison throughout this chapter, and as I go through the points you'll understand what I mean by that. So let's start with the first point. The first kind of test is the idea of taking on a test kind of neighbor attacker. So they go and they get timed, and if you can get it done under a minute, you're something special. If you do it quicker than that, you're like a genius type of thing. So Hyuse manages to do it in a second and a half. And he's like, oh, record, you're the second best. And they're like, no, I want to do it again. So it's ironic that the person he's getting compared to is Yuma, a team member who's also a neighbor, who also had to do it again, because in his case, people didn't believe him. So an interesting duality there, interesting the fact they're both neighbors, they both do really well, and it gives them a comparison. It's important to note, though, that the difference between the two is Hyuse had time to train with, didn't have time to train with normal triggers. Yuma did. That can show a difference in the scores. I just want to point that out. So that's point number one. So point number two. Because of how this kind of enlistment has happened and everything that's been going on prior to this, they changed up the rules so that they can get a feel for fighting. So what they do is they group people in groups of 5, and they have 4 chances to gain some points. The more people you beat, the more points you get. But basically this is just Hyuse kicking everyone's asses. They think, oh, let's gang up on him first and take out the newbie, the different one. Like kind of like a bit of a you know how you have people that pick on people, that bully people. They're not gonna pick on Hyuse. Hyuse deals with all of them, and at that point he gets 3,000 points. Now this didn't really happen with Yuma because of the circumstances. However, it's still good to see that, you know, he can do his thing. Although we knew that was going to be the case, because Hyuse, you know, he's a man that's got some skill. So having the ability to do that to against C-listed, not really C-rank people, isn't really impressive. But we knew it was going to happen. But it's just good to see that confirmation. Now, point number 3. This was funny for me and ironic for me for 2 different reasons. Number one, the same person that showed Yuma the place to go for the C rank was the same person that showed Hyuse, the guy with the bob cup that's in the Ashirayama group. So that was one that was interesting. Number 2 was the fact that the first people he fought was the new Idiot 3, the Coda unit, I think they're called, and he wiped their asses as well. Wiped them out. Last time when they fought Yuma, they're like 2,700 points, and odd sense they're like 3,700 points now. So they thought, oh yeah, we're better than everybody else now. We're nearly B rank. So that was cool, the fact that he wiped them out as well. So that was interesting. What I also liked about this chapter was the fact that we re-explain how to get to B rank, and I think this is the author's way of showing and reminding people that, you know, this is how you do that, because we were shown this earlier on in the manga, we were shown this in the anime as well. I know this because I started watching it again. But when you have so many chapters, you tend to forget things. And me being so excited when I initially read the manga first, I read it so fast that it requires a second reading, and it was really good that they showed us that. Because in my mind, I was thinking, how did Osamu get B rank? And you know, he was promoted. And how did Yuma get there? How did Chika get there? The points and everything else that they gave her. So I like the idea that they go over that, and it's important for me as a reader who's read so many chapters, it's been so long since then, that we get that reminder. Now, point number 4 was probably where she gets crazy. and it was really awesome to see. So again, this is another thing. It is that duality, it is that comparison, it is that kind of comparison to humor again. I say duality in the sense of both of them are neighbours, and they're both again compared over parallels of time over the same type of opponents. To explain what I mean by that, the Azuma unit, the Suwa unit, the Kotori unit, and the Kakizaki unit members, some of them notice that this guy's become, the guys just basically become B rank in the same day that he's enlisted. He must be something special. So what do? They try to go for him. They try to have a match with him, and they all lose. It's a battle 5. I think he beats everyone 5-0, but one of them, he gets one attack on him. But then you've got to bear in mind, compared to everybody else, he had the highest point, so it does make sense. Now, what's also interesting is before this actually all gets confirmed, he actually confirms himself that he isn't used to a sword. So although he's using a scorpion type of trigger, I believe it's scorpion, he knows he's out of practice. So he's doing this all while being rusty with a sword. That is amazing potential there and then. So then at that point. So, like I mentioned before, the comparison to Yuma, that there's that to take into consideration. These matches are showing the parallels of all the people that Yuma has faced in B rank wars before, and he's handing them their asses. And it's interesting to bear in mind that this also shows and gives you idea to the thought that had Hyuse been with them from the beginning, they may have not lost, they may have not struggled as much. This is to prove that point. This further gets proven in the point when he takes on a member Suji from Ninamoya's team, which is the top B rank team, and he beats him 5-2, and he's considered master class. I think the way it works is if you're 6,000 points and above with a certain type of trigger, you're effectively proficient. If you're 8,000 above, you're master class, and if you're 10,000 and above going to 12,000, you're like an elite or something like that. So the fact that he was able to beat him 5-2 whilst being rusty shows loads, shows plenty. Now moving on to point number 5. So naturally, you've beaten people at the lower level. You beat people with 5,000 points. You've now beaten someone with 8,000 plus points. We want to find someone stronger that we can compare him to. And what do? They just happen to have Ikoma there. Ikoma, the guy who's got 11,000 plus points. He's 6th rank as an overall attacker in the business, in the border company. Bearing in mind, I said 6th attacker, not overall. 6th attacker is the best 6. They're gonna fight. Can you believe that? They're gonna fight next. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I want to see how he can do. Bearing in mind, he's probably getting a little bit better as he's fighting. Even like Suji from Ninamoya's team noticed that he's probably used swords in his past. The fact that he's not fully up to scratch just shares volumes to what he can do with Ikoma. Now this is important because what's going to happen is he's going to fight Ikoma, and what's going to happen next is in the next couple of battles they're going to have that rematch. That's what this is about. So this is like him showing how he compares to all these teams that Yuma's fought, but it gives them a good look at him because he's going to join their team, and the next time they're going to be able to face him again in a rematch when they're better is in the B rank wars. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, we're off next week. It's a shame, but it can only build more excitement. I'm hoping it's just a week. It wasn't really clear, but I'm assuming it is just a week because One Piece takes time off as well. Perfectly fine. I cannot wait to see what happens next chapter. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. Hope you're excited like I am. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the chapter and you enjoyed the review. Let me know in the comment section below of any thoughts, theories and suggestions based around the series that you'd like me to consider. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. And I'll see you next time. Peace.